Okay, hello nerd fans. Andrew Hogan from Nerdzilla here, and I'm streaming live on something called Periscope. Now, I will freely admit, I pretty much have no idea what Joel's cooked up here. I know that apparently I'm talking to the internet. Is that right, mate?
Yeah.
Okay, like people, I'm probably talking to nobody on the internet, but I'm talking to the internet.
There's
So-
one person watching us. Hooray!
This is magic. So, look, for that one person, we're going to do a movie review tonight, and I wonder if you can guess what movie we're reviewing.
Before we get to that, though, I'm going to try a little trick here. There we go. All right, so we can actually see what's going on. We've just turned the camera around,
Okay, that's good.
so we can see what's going on.
Yep.
Less of you in the shot is better, Andrew.
I know that's not very nice, but I'll move over. This is sort of like we're doing everything, aren't we?
It is indeed. Hello, my name's Joel Rheinberger. With me is my friend
Andrew Hogan. I did just tell them that, and I told you your chair's bigger. Look,
Hang on.
look at that. Thank you. Okay.
We are the hosts of the Nerdzilla podcast, and we've just been to see the movie Jurassic World, and we're sitting back in our studio recording this with the big microphones for our podcast, as well as
to make it look like we actually know what we're doing. Yeah, big microphones.
as well as to you on the internet. Hello, Periscope. How are you doing?
Periscope. People on submarines can see this.
Yeah, absolutely. If they have
fantastic.
Twitter.
Yeah.
Didn't James Cameron tweet from the... No, he cheated when he tweeted.
Yeah,
he was a cheat tweet, wasn't he? Mariana Trench.
From the Marijuana Trench, yeah. I know. That's weird, no,
All
anyway.
right, now, Andrew, how many Jurassic Park films have you seen before this one?
I can't remember seeing any. Now, I can't believe I haven't seen them because that makes no sense. I mean, it's a bit like not seeing Star Wars. It's like at some point it's crossed a television in front of me. I absolutely can tell you I've never paid money to go to a cinema and see a Jurassic Park film. Not for any philosophical or religious reason, just didn't really interest me.
I've seen them all. I saw the first one the day it came out, and I do remember at the time it had the best special effects of any movie ever. Like dinosaurs were completely real for the first time ever. There was no gaps, there was no stop frame animation where you had to suspend disbelief. They were just amazingly good.
That's a good point, yes. And I remember Jeff Goldblum, so I must have seen it.
But it was on last week on the television.
Oh, was
the first
it?
One.
Oh, God. Jeez, what if that was when I saw it? That would be terrible, wouldn't it? I don't remember Jeff Goldblum being very good.
Jeff Goldblum is always great.
Really?
He is always great.
Do you rate him?
I love him. I love Jeff Goldblum.
I mean, sort of Vulcan level or not?
I
quite?
totally do. Have you seen The Fly?
Yeah.
The Fly is just one of the great movies of all time, and it's all entirely due to Jeff Goldblum.
It's all entirely due to David Cronenberg.
True.
Quietly.
Anyway,
okay,
look,
I'm going to fight you on that later. He's not Vulcan level.
Okay, now just to introduce you to our little cast of dinosaurs here. Now, this is because my son Louis loves dinosaurs, and so he's lent me some of his. Now, the very first Jurassic Park was mainly about a T-Rex and about Velociraptor.
You know
let's move these out of the way. So
have you actually gone serious with this?
Oh, absolutely.
I've got no idea what they are.
So Tyrannosaurus Rex and Velociraptor was what the first movie was very much about. Now, just as a side note, this
Flappy Tail McBeakster.
This is what people, some scientists think Velociraptor looks like now, and you'll notice that it's basically furry or feathery, depending on how you want to talk about it.
It looks like bones now.
Yeah, it's even got a feathery tail at the end there to help it balance as it runs. The other thing to know about actual Velociraptors is that they were about the size of a Dalmatian. So the Spielberg Velociraptors are just way over scale.
As my son would say, they're OP. They're overpowered. They are way OP. I'll tell you one thing I know about Velociraptors.
Tell me.
Native hens run exactly like Velociraptors. You know, with the head going back and forth.
Head going back and forth.
We got these native hens, as my kids call them, that run around our top paddock, and they look exactly like from a long way away. They look like little miniature Velociraptors. Yeah, I thought I'd just say that.
So if he was going to do, because there was lots of raptors, if he was going to do a raptor, what he should have done is a Utah raptor, which is about the size of the Velociraptors in all of the movies.
Because everything's bigger in Utah. Why wouldn't it be a Texas raptor in that case?
Be wearing a hat and have barbecue sauce running out the corner of his mouth.
But no, it'd be being eaten.
So anyway,
okay.
So first movie was about these two dinosaurs here, the T-Rex and the Velociraptor.
Meeting, falling in love, having some kids, all that sort of stuff.
The second movie was about this fella here, the Spinosaurus, which is actually bigger than the T-Rex, and in the movie wins a fight against the T-Rex. The third movie was very much about the T-Rex, pretty much by itself, the T-Rex and the baby T-Rex.
Oh, really?
This one
The family
has some new dinosaurs in it.
It certainly does.
So, these guys both feature, especially the raptors. There's a lot of raptor action going on there. There's a bit of T-Rex going on. But the main thrust of the movie is about that they've invented a new dinosaur. They've just bred genetically all sorts of dinosaurs together to create something new that they call Indominus Rex.
So the way I would... Optimus Prime, I thought. Wasn't it called Optimus Prime?
No.
I couldn't keep track of anything that was going on in this, really. Like, as far as I can tell, I'd sort of summarise it by the psychiatrist from SVU has made a dinosaur that's not really a dinosaur, and he's mixed all these other genes with it, include to give it superpowers, mostly Martian Manhunter's powers.
That's true. That's true.
And then Star-Lord has to come to save Ron Howard's daughter from said dinosaur with his trained velociraptors. That's pretty much it.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. So, look, what happens in every single Jurassic Park movie? Dinosaurs escape and go bad and frighten people. There's not really that much more to it.
Can I say that's actually... I really hate films that have Gilligans. Okay, so the Gilligan theory, right? If the crew on the boat on Gilligan's Island had killed Gilligan in the pilot episode, they would have got off in half an hour. He was the reason they never got off the island.
Right.
He effectively, his dumbness sabotages everything. And in this film, none of it would have happened if these boneheads hadn't have done this thing, then this thing, then this thing, then this thing. The whole chain of events could have been prevented about 4 times along the way.
Now, for the whole rest of this review, I'm going to be trying to remember what the name of the ship was.
The SS... Oh, God, the SS... I know.
It's in the song, isn't it?
It was the Minnow.
The Minnow!
The Minnow would be lost. Yeah, so... And that sort of annoys me about films, when there's a Gilligan scene where you go... where the protagonist causes the problem, and it just bugs me a bit. I will say, Vincent D'Onofrio should just do fat acting from now on. Between this and Kingpin in Daredevil, because he chews scenery. I mean, that's what he does. That's his job.
No, look, he can be really understated. On his years on Law and Order, he was generally pretty understated.
Oh yeah, true. But he plays quirky, disturbed. But in this film, he just played. Well, he had a great little goatee thing going on. And he's big now and I think his character worked really well. I got to say, I don't know, Star-Lord phoned it in a little bit.
Yeah, Chris Pratt's pretty good. Yeah, I like Chris Pratt. I thought he was pretty fun.
I like Chris Pratt in the Lego Movie, but in this film, because I kept thinking at some point he's going to go and get the other Guardians of the Galaxy to kill this dinosaur.
I did see a few moments where I was waiting for him to start doing a bit of this action, a little bit of rock and rolling,
a bit of mixtape
60s
stuff.
Music was going to come on.
I will watch Bryce Dallas Howard for 2 hours, even in a bad film. I'm not sure whether maybe I just did that.
Okay. Look, now let's start with the shape and direction of the film.
All right.
Steven Spielberg was executive director, executive producer, not the director. But it's very Spielberg.
I felt like I just got Spielberged for 2 hours.
Yeah, start off with a slightly quirky family, and with their little family problems, and then have some preaching. There's a couple of lots of preaching done at you at the start of that.
The kid may as well have been Elliot from E.T.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much. A lot of it's from that youngest kid's point of view.
Yeah, I think quite a lot of it. And then there's always a family. Look, the whole. Not really spoiler alert, our parents are going to get divorced. That had nothing to do with the plot at all. That was just so they could get him to cry on a train.
Yeah, one kid to cry and the other kid to give him a hug so he would feel better.
That's again classic Spielberg.
And
a lot of it, and I'm not overly a fan, to be quite honest. There was a lot of Indiana Jones in it, wasn't there? Running through jungles, being chased by things.
Well, that's good practice for Chris Pratt, apparently.
Right. Oh, well, yes.
The rumour is
that
he's going to be wearing the battered hat next.
Well, it can't. Well, Harrison Ford can't mumble his way through it again.
He's probably still recovering from his broken leg, I imagine, from his Star Wars experience.
No, Chewie, we're home. He's already home. I've seen it. I've seen that on the internet 12 million times. Okay, the story, yeah, look, you get totally Spielberged, and if that's your thing, you're going to go mental with this. I thought that lots of scenes were really telegraphed.
Oh yeah, you knew what was coming.
Every single time.
I think I saw a review which said this is a bit quirkier and a bit surprising compared to previous ones.
No.
I just went, no, I knew what was happening every second, and I predicted the next 5 things that were going to happen every second of the film.
And the end is so obvious to me now that I'm embarrassed that I didn't pick it. Like, I won't spoil the ending because, in fact, no, look, I'm not going to spoil it, but if you don't pick the ending before it happens, then it's like all you to think of is biggest. It's easy. Makes sense.
Yeah, it's fairly obvious. Now, in terms of the action, though, there were 3 or 4 points in that film where I just laughed with how enjoyable it was.
See, I think had we not seen Mad Max a week or two ago, I would have liked that a lot more because that just looked pedestrian. Compared to Fury Road, I'm kid you not, folks. It's like, yeah, okay, fantastic stuff, and I was impressed with clearly there's interaction in this between CG and real live sets, real live people,
always are, yeah.
And it was very well done. Like, remember watching say the BBC special Walking with Dinosaurs, which was cutting edge at the time, but anytime they had 2 things interacting, where one was like a real log and a CG dinosaur, you could tell.
Yep.
You couldn't tell anywhere in this, which is nice, but I can't think of any... See, I can't think of any fantastic stunt that impressed me.
It's not so much a stunt as just a piece of reality. And for me, the bit where they're finally charging through the jungle and Chris Pratt has his trained velociraptors charging with him through the jungle... That to me was really fun. It was really fun.
Trained-ish is a very important part of the storyline. Yeah, they do about as much for him as my cat does when I'm talking to it.
It doesn't hit your face in the night, and that's about it.
Yeah, pretty much. And sometimes it does. Yeah. I was underwhelmed is not the right word, but this is not my franchise. I guess this is just so I wasn't very invested in it, and I would have happily watched that on DVD.
I mean, this has already jumped the shark a couple of times. This series, the Jurassic Park series has already jumped the shark a couple of times, just in terms of the big stupid things that they end up doing, and the fights between the giant dinosaurs they have, and people falling off cliffs and into water, and etc. They're all over the top, and so there was nothing really. It's not like a beloved franchise. It's not like the Alien movies.
Yeah, okay, good point. Yeah,
and when Alien 3 came out, people went, "Oh, you kind of ruined something so amazing." I don't feel like that. This was just very much like the other movies. If you really enjoyed the other ones, you'll really enjoy this one.
They did. Clearly they want to be this franchise that is sort of, the people who saw it years ago were invested in, because there's a whole homage. There's an homage to Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
In Jurassic Park, the movie, and Jurassic Park, they acknowledge the previous park on the island, because this is set however many years since the last film was made. It's set that's in that same amount in real time, if that makes any sense at all.
See, the thing that I don't get is how they ever... Because, the park is working. The actual tourist park in Jurassic World is a tourist park. It's like Disneyland with dinosaurs on an island near South America.
$8 Cokes.
He actually complains about. Someone complains about sodas for $8 or $7. He complains about. So it's open. I don't understand how after the first 3 movies that's happened.
Yeah.
How
would they be allowed?
Well, it's just probably in a place where the local government will take the money and run and not really give a damn. It's not in America. I guess that's how it's
very true. And also, there's a whole lot of military-industrial complex stuff going on.
Yeah. The potential of using dinosaurs in the military is what it's all about.
Weaponized dinosaurs, which is sort of actually cool.
Well, how much more weaponized does a dinosaur need to be?
It's got teeth. What, you wouldn't put a laser on it? Are you seriously telling me that given the chance, you wouldn't put a laser on a dinosaur?
Oh, look, what's going to happen, though, is, a dinosaur with a drone brain. So you can remote control it around. That's going to be exciting.
Do they really have brains?
A dronosaur.
Do they really have brains the size of peas? That's what I learned when I was in primary school.
A brain the size of a walnut is
okay.
the classic thing for the big Diplodocus and stuff like that. But they also have a secondary brain about the same size in their hip joint.
Their ass.
To control the rest of the length of them, because otherwise it takes too long for the messages.
Right, okay.
You know, it gets bitten on the tail, and it takes a second and a half for that pain to get to the top brain. And so they have to have an extra brain that can just go, ow, stop that.
It's like me when I've had too much to drink, or like, you fall over, you don't feel it till like the next day.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So they've got a brain in their bum.
Yeah, that's right. Those ones do. But look, again, because of my son and his obsession with these creatures, I know that these guys, for example, had a much bigger brain than that.
Okay.
A much bigger brain. In fact, they MRI the skulls now and get these beautiful molds of what the brain was encased in, so they can actually tell how big the different parts of the brain were, comparing it to birds and stuff like that, and go, look at the visual cortex on this dinosaur. It's amazing.
Oh, the visual cortex. There you go.
So they
don't you love how my knowledge of dinosaurs ended at primary school? Because it's just like, what is...
Well, look, my son is only in, kindergarten, in prep at least. So,
You'd be more informed than me. If Batman punched a dinosaur, I'd be all over
Batman
that.
has a dinosaur in his cave.
It's a robot dinosaur.
You should know more about dinosaurs on that premise alone.
It's a robot dinosaur.
Yeah.
It's not a real dinosaur.
But you should know more about the dinosaur that robot is based upon.
It's like those ones up in Queensland that Clive Palmer owns. It's one of those. No, it actually is one of those.
Just like Clive Palmer, perhaps.
What if Clive Palmer was Batman? No one overseas understands this. Everyone in Australia has just peed themselves laughing. Okay, next, acting.
Look, it's as well acted as you can be with a Spielberg sort of plot, and lines. Perfectly well done. It's mainly about the action, and the action's good.
People did what they had to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Which was, fine. I think it. I don't know about you, but actually, I think it did need a little bit of Guardians of the Galaxy type humour, because it was fairly earnest. Yeah, that which surprised me, not coming into it really knowing the franchise much, but these type of franchises tend to be. I thought there would be a little bit, but mind you, the gore was pretty gory. It's a bit hard to be.
Well, that was the thing, is that it has this very Spielberg, very family values sort of way about it, and yet, so there's a lot of kids there. There was like all these 8-year-old kids in the audience, and I was going, that's wrong. Yeah, you shouldn't be here. Yeah. This is going to be people being chomped by dinosaurs, and you're going to be really scared, and it's not going to be appropriate.
There was some serious chomping.
Yeah. Oh, lots of people got chomped really badly.
Yeah. Well, what, better than dead?
Yeah. That's about they weren't chomped in half. You didn't have people being chomped in half in front of you, but people being fully chomped by T-Rexes, or the T-Rex and the Indominus Rex.
Optimus Prime.
Rah.
Oh, he's got a jaw.
Oh, yeah. They've actually got, one point of articulation. These dinosaurs. Rah.
Wow, what an action figure. That's fantastic. Point of articulation. We are terrible nerds. Look, I felt like I said, I'm not going to diss it as a film, because clearly this is not a poorly made film. This is a well-made film.
Yeah,
but this is not up there with anything that I'm excited about.
Look, I'd say a 3-star film. Take your 12-year-old kid to it, and they'll really have a great time. I would not take a 6-year-old to it. I certainly won't take my 6-year-old to see this. But maybe a 10, 12-year-old would be able to cope with it.
Really interesting the way that it's been crafted. You can tell it's got Spielberg all over it, because it was infinitely better than any Michael Bay Transformers film.
Oh, yeah.
And when you think about it, it's a similar concept. Giant creatures fighting each other with humans getting caught up in the mix. But I immensely more enjoyed the action in that than any of the Bay former films, because
that's true.
Because his style, Michael Bay's style, just doesn't give you a chance to simply watch what's happening. The annoying jump cut rubbish and close in camera and shaky cam and didn't have Mark Wahlberg. Oh, look, it's a Transformer. It's a Transformer.
Now, another thing about this is we actually saw it in 3D. Now, most of the time when we see films, we only see them in 2D.
2Ds.
2Ds. But today, just due to when we had time to see it, we happened to see a 3D session.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was really well-handled 3D.
And you know why?
There was only maybe one or two spots where it shuddered.
Mm-hmm.
For the whole rest of the time, it was actually really well done. It was shot with the 3D in mind and well done that way.
So what I've been doing with these films is taking the glasses off occasionally to have a look at how they've done the image separation, which admittedly is pretty optometry nerd, but there was a lot of scenes where there was almost no 3D, where in fact they didn't give people contour on their face. What they did was the 3D was nothing more than whatever was in the background looked like it was behind them.
Yeah,
they didn't, and this is what I think I commented on. Kenneth Branagh's Thor, for example, the scenes on Earth, which are real scenes with real actors and things, he dialed back the 3D. The stuff in Asgard, which was just CG, you can go to town on the 3D
because it'll be perfect anyway.
Because it'll be perfect anyway. That's right. And the guy who directed it was
Trevorrow. Colin Trevorrow.
Colin Trevorrow. Yeah, he obviously he used that same theory. Scenes where 3D wouldn't work or would make it look worse than 2D, he just dialed back the 3D. He just said, let's not worry about it. Of course...
And you don't notice it. There were half a dozen shots where I went, wow, the 3D is very cool there, but almost none where I went, that's not working.
Yeah.
And that's a good balance to get on something like that.
But he couldn't help but have a number of Three Stooges moments. Well, you know, the poking finger towards the camera.
Yeah.
And they're all
Sudden Velociraptor.
Yeah. And
hang on, I can actually do it properly.
Yeah, you do it. And they're all dinosaurs with their mouths open, going straight for you. I mean, and I sort of think, okay, but don't you think that the problem is, well, if that's how they're going to use 3D, why use 3D? It's, yeah.
No, look, because there were moments where it really worked and added to the experience for me.
Okay.
Remember there was that helicopter shot when I really dig that. That looks great. Where you've got like landscape down below and the chopper coming around and swinging around and the point of view swinging around with it, and that worked really nicely.
Okay, yes, no, that was a good scene. That was a good scene. I really enjoyed Irfan Khan, who was in Slumdog Millionaire as the millionaire head of
the Indian CEO who owns the park.
Yeah, and they sort of dropped all these hints about how the company's into everything, and Jurassic World is clearly, you know very early on, hang on, there's something else. This is not just tourism. There's something else that this is making money from. Yeah, because, look, that was a nice part of the story where all the time they gave you a little hint at the beginning that they waved that flag that they're not just making their money from the people that buy the $6 sodas. There's something else going on here, and he was really good in his role. I quite like. He was in Life of Pi as well. Yeah, with the lion. Or tiger. And no one else. yeah. So he's done siege animals. He's fine. He was good with this.
With that sort of thing.
No, look, for me, it is a 3. It's not
because it's technically beautifully done.
Yeah.
It's technically beautifully done, and the dinosaur fights are fantastic.
Yeah, look, it's okay. I agree. 2.5 would be unfair. 4 would be it's no Dark Knight, but it was okay.
Now, one other thing that I would like to show you, just because it's kind of cool, now that the review part is over, I'm just going to bring the camera over to me a little bit here, and so you're seeing it from the other side. I just want to show you the magnificent item that we've been using to hold our camera. This is a standard little tripod for a camera with the standard little screw top on it. But I wanted it to be able to hold the iPhone, which is what I'm using to film this, naturally enough. And I could not find a mount that would hold the iPhone up vertically. They're all designed to hold it horizontally, but Periscope requires the camera to be vertical.
So an epic fail for Periscope.
So what I've done, and I found this online on YouTube, this idea, is I've gotten a spring clip, and I've sort of had it screwed on. You get a screw that matches the little bolt at the top of the top of the camera mount, and then you drill a hole into the metal there, and I've put some of those cork things that you normally put under your chair legs so they don't mark up your floor in there, and that's now able to hold my camera any which way I want it. So I can hold it sideways or I can hold it vertical, which is a thing.
That's
and
pretty DIY awesome.
Yeah, and I must say, thanks to the ABC techs who put that together for me, especially because they literally put their blood and and tears into that. One of them stabbed his finger. Oh, a question has come through. What did you think of the movie experience when the crowd cheered? Oh, sorry. Your question has gone off screen. The movie experience when the crowd cheered, I assume that is for the mosasaur. When the crowd gets splashed by the giant swimming dinosaur.
No spoilers.
Someone said, no spoilers, please. It's all right. We're not spoiling it.
Yeah.
And someone's saying, he's a troll doing that everywhere. And someone else says, yes.
Will do.
Well, no, someone says. I'm not, no.
We didn't spoil the ending.
We didn't spoil the ending. No, this is just a nice scene in the park early on where they're demonstrating the mosasaur, which is a giant swimming dinosaur. And it's in fact, it's in the trailer.
Yeah,
so
okay,
nothing spoiled there. It's they hang a shark over the cage, and the mosasaur comes up beneath and goes, rah, goes the shark.
It's just what they do with sharks at SeaWorld. It's exactly
with porpoises at SeaWorld.
It's no different. I mean, it's like
except it's a thing that's big enough to eat a shark
or a building.
Yeah, and there is a nice thing of everyone getting splashed. And look, only a couple of years ago, I went to a SeaWorld place in Europe.
Ooh, really?
And they actually do exactly that thing. They get the killer whales to splash everybody there.
They do it at SeaWorld here.
Someone says, wait, if you're reviewing, shouldn't you be able to talk about the whole movie?
Oh.
No. We're not giving away any spoilers. We're talking about the shape of the movie, but spoiling the movie is not the done thing when one is doing a review.
We've had this discussion quite a lot. And
that person has just been blocked because they don't understand the concept of a spoiler-free review.
Or did he block us? We didn't block him.
I have no idea.
I can't reach the camera. We don't know how to work.
First time I've ever made Periscope work, funnily enough.
Right. Yeah.
I've tried to make Periscope work a couple of times out in the wilds of Hobart. I've actually gone out to a gig and things like that to try and make
the wilds of Hobart, or a pub near your house.
A pub near my house in Hobart,
okay,
and where I appear to have 4 bars of coverage, but Periscope still will not launch. So we've actually had to come back to the ABC and do it here.
Because we got good Wi-Fi.
Because there's Wi-Fi here, and so therefore Periscope will work for us on that front.
Question, can you read that? I can't see it.
You guys are great blocking the troll. It wasn't us who blocked him.
Yeah. So someone else is working. Oh, like you're our man. You're like our enforcer. He's our enforcer. Let's keep doing this. This is fantastic.
Wait, I'm not trolling. Is this the Muppet Show?
If we could be that funny, dude, there's no chance we're ever going to be as funny as the Muppet Show.
Hey, did you know they're bringing the Muppet Show back?
Yeah.
They're bringing back the original proper Kermit, etc. Muppet Show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And did you know that in the last week, Miss Piggy got an award for being a great feminist?
I did not know that.
I think that is awesome.
All right,
that is absolutely awesome.
A puppet pig got an award.
For being a feminist.
What does that say about...
No, don't go down that way. Don't go down that way.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing? That's all I'm getting at.
Hello from France, says somebody. Hello there,
hello, France.
Francais. How are you doing? I was just talking about being at the Marine World joint in Antibes a couple of years ago.
I've been to Movie World on the Gold Coast. And a few weeks ago, I was at... what's the other one? On the Gold Coast? Dream World, the one that doesn't have any themes.
Well, look, there's the person there has just said, why can't you talk more about the movie because I watched it? Because most people haven't watched it at this point. At this point, we don't want to spoiler it. And this is also going to go on our podcast. The reason we have the big microphones is because this review is also going to go on our podcast. And putting out a podcast with a big, fat, spoiler-laden review, not the right idea for us.
Nerdzilla, by the way. Nerdzilla.
Yeah.
Google up Nerdzilla. Listen to all of our previous episodes. We're much, much funnier than this.
We don't normally do it to a camera because we have receding hairlines.
Yeah, and we've got...
And the overhead light makes it look much worse than it actually
really
is.
Working well, isn't it? We do also, and you will be surprised about the fact that 2 middle-aged white Australian guys have put out a hip-hop song.
Yes, in the last week... We've what's the difference between dinos and the Muppet Show? I don't even know how to answer that question. I really don't. Anyway,
Potato.
We've just put out a hip-hop song. We've jammed as many memes, internet memes, as possible into one song. So go and look it up. Meme Theme, it's called.
By Nerdzilla versus
Nerdzilla.
Dr. Double Denim.
You can find it on SoundCloud. You can also, if you follow our Twitter stream, you can find it there.
Thank a special thanks to Dr. Double Denim for putting together what
Putting
is a
together-
pretty amazing track and making us sound sort of not crap.
We sound like two mid-40s white guys trying to hip-hop. That's what we sound like.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll wrap this up.
reckon
Thank you
so.
so much, folks, for joining us. Lovely to have you.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks, guys.
We get some love.
We are.
That's fun.